Are we live? Just checking my connection. Guess who's back? Hey, everyone's joining. All good? Can you hear me? Do you like my intro music? Let me play it again. No, let me play it again. Everyone, back again. Scottie's back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? What is happening, everyone? Let me turn this off, turn this down. Getting too excited. It makes you want to dance. It does me too. Do a little shoulder bop. That's all I've got. How is everyone doing? Hope everyone has had a good Easter. I have to say I did miss you all. I did miss doing Scottie Talks. But it was good to be back on the one show and talking to everyone. And now I'm back in my den. Yeah, hear it coming on. Scottie Talks cup. Do you know what, guys? I have to say, I've not even used this. I was like, I can't have a cup of tea with this mug unless I'm doing Scottie Talks. So, yes. Everyone said I got a little bit of a tan. I was out painting yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw on my Instagram. I started a little project painting my little decking that I have just to try and make it look a bit more, well, because people saw my old photos and the wall and the fence, it needed painting. It need biscuits. I love how you lot already instantly like, well, where's the biscuits? Where's the biscuits? All right, Mum, where are you? Everyone wants to see what biscuits we've got to go with their cup of tea. Mum? Okay, let me connect to Mumsy. What biscuits do I think Mum will have? She already brought out the custard creams. Right, Mum. Let's go live. The cream, she brought out the Jaffa cakes that were not biscuits. We already established that.
Hello, Mum. Hiya, babe.
Hello. Oh, you've done your fringe and everything today. Love it.
I had to look beautiful today. I lost it for a week. I've been waiting for today.
You're waiting for Scottie Talks to come back. It's all right, yes. Mum. Look, I've not washed my hair. Okay, so the question is, what biscuits do we have to go with our cup of tea? What is that?
Oh. Guess.
Well, I don't know.
Now, you can't say that ain't a biscuit.
It's not a chocolate finger.
No.
What is it?
It's a toffee crisp biscuit.
No, Mum.
No, look, it says biscuits.
Toffee crisp is not a biscuit.
Look, what does that say? It's a biscuit.
Mum, no. Maybe it's got biscuit texture in it, but that is not a biscuit. You can't dip that in your cup of tea.
Want a bet?
Mum, thank you very much. Enjoy the talk with Fran. Love you and
love you.
Loads.
Have a good show, babe. Love you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Love you, Mum.
Bye.
I think she's done it again. Everyone, that is not a biscuit, is it? A toffee crisp biscuit. No. Actually, I think I just saw another hour's on the line. Hour now show. Ow. I've got my cup of tea. Right. I just want to say before we start this, I need to do my show and tell, which will go into why I just wanted to say that Fran coming on today. Already, I want to say thank you because obviously she's not been on social media for a couple of months. And when I spoke to her, I asked her, I said, would you come on? Because I think it can help so many people if you all hear from her and tell her, she can tell you about her struggles, what she's been going through, because everyone in this time, we all have our ups and downs. Some days we have good days, some days we have bad days. But I think to hear from Fran today, she's really inspiring, and I'm sure she'll really help a lot of you just hearing her story. And so at this point, we always do a show and tell. And so I was thinking of Fran. I was like, what can I show you that will relate to Fran? So I've had Mumsy on, and Fran loves her dogs. And I had a dog last year. This is her dog tag. My mum got me this. I don't know if you can really see that without it shining. But this was my dog, Ella. She passed away over a bit ago. So I haven't got a dog yet. But Fran has 2 dogs, which she is going to show you all. And I did name my dog Ella. Quick story for you this. Because when I got her as a pup, I was on the way home in the car. Rihanna song came on. Under my umbrella, Ella, Ella. So that's why I named her Ella. Just quick story for you all. Right. Fran Kirby, are you with us? I hope she is. She did tell me earlier that she isn't really good with Instagram or actually technology and don't know how to get onto lives. So I told her what she had to do, but I don't think she's in the building yet. So let me do some shout outs. Has everyone had a good Easter? Oh, Frank Kirby's there. Oh, and Alex, if you're still there, I made my broccoli soup, FYI, just to let you know. I'm going to put a picture up and show you later on. Right, Fran. Yes, Fran, you managed to do it.
Honestly, I was stressing about this. I was messaging Alex all morning, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I haven't done it. I don't know what I'm doing. So we made it. We made it.
Insta Live?
Yeah. I haven't been on, well, like I've done Insta Live like by myself.
Yeah.
Obviously no one tuned in. But so this is my first Insta Live with someone else. So this is quite a big deal.
Yay! Okay, wait. I want to start off because I just did my show and tell, and I kind of wanted to relate it to yours. So I got like a picture of my dog out, the dog tag. So what have you got for us?
Well, I think he's only in the kitchen because it's around his time to get dinner. Otherwise, he'd probably be on the sofa. But Cody's down here.
Cody! Looking straight at the camera.
Oh, he's such a poser, honestly. Oh, hello. Yeah. But he's only in the kitchen because, you know, he's due to get some FOOD. I'm not going to say it because he gets a bit excited when he hears that word. So.
How long is Cody? How long have you had him?
So he's 3.5, well, nearly 4 now. So I've had him a long time. He's starting to get a bit grey now under his chin, and I'm like, oh, he's not a puppy anymore.
Wait, and you have another one, Simba, as well?
Yeah, Simba's in the living room. He likes to lay flat in the living room on the sofa, so he's just chilling.
Wait, did you and Lucy Bronze speak? Because obviously she's got a dog, named her dog Nala from Lion King, and now you've got Simba.
No. It was just a kind of spur of the moment when we kind of saw him. It was just like straight away, like, oh, his name's got to be Simba. Like, and then it was just from there. So yeah, we've got Cody and Simba. Cody didn't really like Simba at first.
They didn't get on?
Not in the first kind of 5 to 6 months, just because obviously he was a puppy and he was like biting Cody all the time, and he's a bit of a miserable dog, this one. Well, he's not, but he used to be. He used to be like, oh, I just want to sleep, leave me alone. But yeah, no, they're good friends now.
The king has returned. Love Lion King. But Fran, do you know what? I just want to say, obviously, thank you so much for doing this. I know how many people it's going to help and inspire today. But just in case everyone tuning in, thank you for tuning in to Scottie Talks. But just in case you didn't know, Fran's been off social media for a couple of months now. But Fran, I'll let you explain, why did you choose to go off social media?
Well, to be fair, it wasn't a real reason why, like specifically. It was just obviously I was going through a tough time with my illness that I had. And, you know, it was a case of trying to get my head in the right place to just overcome the illness, rather than kind of, you know, I was reading things on social media about myself and about kind of people saying, oh, Chelsea have had enough of her, Chelsea don't want her, because I wasn't playing, and obviously no one really knew the reason why, because we kept it quiet for quite a while. You know, I wanted to...
Just in case, Fran, because I don't even know the full extent. Obviously you've had health issues and reasons, but what was they?
So basically...
What are they, maybe still?
Yeah. Well, in good terms, I'm in a much better place than obviously I was a few months ago. I'm able to kind of, you know, do very low exercise, and I'm kind of building up week by week. Sometimes I'll go a few weeks without having any symptoms, and then I'll have a week of feeling a bit poorly. So been trying to manage that, but basically it was completely random what kind of happened, which was a bit scary. But it was the day after we played Manchester United at home. The next day I went to training normally, I was doing everything normally, and then the evening I just got really, really bad chest pains. And it was a bit scary. I went a bit like kind of lightheaded, a bit like all over the place, a bit disorientated, and it kind of like was a bit stressing because this chest pain wasn't like a normal, like a heartburn or anything. Like it was really intense, and I was a bit worried and scared about that. So we kind of got in contact with the doctor, and he took me down to a hospital the next day. And then, I was diagnosed with something that's called pericarditis.
Okay.
Which is basically, so your heart is kind of in a sac which protects it and doesn't let anything kind of attack it, or it just looks after it. And I had inflammation and fluid around that heart sac, so it was quite intense for a few months. Really, I was very, very poorly. Constant chest pain, constant chest ache, exhaustion.
And then I read, Fran, even some days you couldn't even get the energy to get out of bed.
Yeah, like I was falling asleep this probably lasted for 1.5 months. Even over Christmas, I wasn't doing anything. I couldn't really go out. I think maybe I managed to get out 3 times in the whole space of being poorly. I just couldn't do it. I was going to bed at 9:30 in the evening, waking up at 3 o'clock sometimes in the afternoon the next day. It was really crazy, actually. Like now I actually sit and think about it and think, I went from kind of pushing myself to being able to train all week after coming back from my injuries and kind of getting back involved to you're not allowed to walk up the stairs more than twice in a day. That's how extreme it was. I wasn't allowed to go for a walk. I wasn't allowed to, do anything that would put stress on me. I literally just had to lay on the sofa for 2 months. Yeah.
And is that the thing? Because like you said, Chelsea kind of at the start, you kept it quiet and nobody knew. Was that the frustration for you? Because everyone sees you kind of identifying as a footballer, but then the stuff that goes on behind that and you're not being able to communicate, was that frustrating for you?
If I'm being honest, no, because I felt so poorly. Like I was in a place where I just completely zoned out of everything. I was just a kind of like, I was a ghost, really. I was a bit of a zombie. I wasn't there, I was, some of the girls would come round for dinner because obviously it was over Christmas, so we were trying to have it, and I would literally kind of sit with my back to everyone just doing a puzzle against the wall because I just couldn't, like socialise or anything. I'd still try and go in the training ground, but then I'd end up falling asleep on the doctor's physio bed, just flat out for 2 hours. So yeah, I wasn't really frustrated. I was more like, it was more a bit kind of like I wanted it just to keep to myself for a bit because obviously I'm very open about what's going on with me and when I'm struggling with something. So for this, I wanted to get better to then speak about it once I was better, because then I'm not in that stage where everything is miserable. I didn't want to talk to people when everything was miserable. I wanted to be more upbeat and positive about it because it was a horrible illness, and I think the hardest thing for me was understanding the illness rather than accepting it.
And then do you think, because like how you said, you have been very open talking about mental health and then struggling with depression and anxiety, do you think because you were so open about that and now you've got the tools to deal with that, it helped you going in with this illness?
Yeah, definitely. I think overall nothing can prepare you for a completely random illness. A bit like, when you're going through something that causes some sort of depression, you're not ready for it. But I think it definitely... Sorry, he wants to go out of this room now, so I'm gonna let him. He's making a huff over here. Come on, then. There you go. Oh, there's Simba.
Oh, there's the both of them. One in, one out. One in, one out.
Yeah. So I think that was a bit easier for me, kind of to accept it, and I think I actually kind of handled it really well in regards to, I didn't really let it affect my personality in a way. Obviously I was so tired and was struggling to be around people, but I still kind of kept a happy face on, or I looked absolutely awful, don't get me wrong. I was pale, I was yellow, I was everything. Like I had to put fake tan on probably every week, But you know.
Oh no, not the ones that smell. That
Oh
smell
yeah, I
of
didn't
baked
care. I
out.
didn't care at that time. I was like, no, anything on is fine.
But then, so how are you now? How are you feeling?
Yeah, well, much better than I was. You know, even from kind of a month ago, much better. I'm still having some symptoms here and there, but you know, it's better than what I was. Okay, look now, this is just
They look like they're getting on.
yeah, they're having a fight now. It always happens. So yeah, I'm trying to take each day. I've managed to kind of do a few sessions here and there of training and stuff, but I'll do something and then kind of have a bit of a setback. So then I had to take another kind of week. I have to go, you know, everything I do has to be symptom free
Yeah.
before I can do anything. It's not like, you know, I was trying to like to the doctor, I was like, oh, it's a bit like an injury, you know, when you kind of feel it a little bit, you just carry on and just hope that it kind of goes away. And he was like,
They're like,
no, no.
but then, so especially with now with the coronavirus and everything, is that another, like, you have to be just super careful because you've already got obviously recovering from everything that you've just told us?
Yeah, well, I mean, ultimately, everyone has to be really careful. I think, obviously, you know, I'm taking it as seriously as everyone else. You know, we're going to the shop just to get some food and then coming straight back. You know, I'm not dwelling out anywhere or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I think I've probably been a lot more extra careful than I would have been previously, which is bad to say if I hadn't obviously experienced this illness. But I think just in general, I've been a lot more careful of everything that I've been doing, where what food I'm putting into my body or what supplements I'm taking that might help a certain thing. Because you know, like I said, it was completely random and it was quite scary actually. Like now, I sit there and think it's more scary than anything.
You know what? I was looking earlier, and for me, I don't know. I just feel like you've been around like forever.
I
When
feel
I was
that
like,
way.
yeah, when I was looking back, because what you've managed to achieve in your career already, with all the ups and downs, Fran, is absolutely incredible. Before we go back into that, though, I do want to continue because the amount of messages that I've got with people struggling either to get out of bed, obviously during lockdown, or some days they have happy days or bad days. I want to speak to you about what tools do you have or did you learn to deal with in terms of when you was going through with your depression and anxiety?
I think I just tried to have a structure of the day. Even if I was doing the same thing every day, it was just a routine, it was a structure, it was something that I was used to. It wasn't a case of, you know, oh, I'm not going to set an alarm tomorrow because I don't have to get up. You know, obviously when I was poorly, I couldn't. I even tried to set an alarm and I would just sleep through it. But,
Yeah.
you know, I was trying to just do things. I was always doing exercise, always through my whole kind of depression. I was going to the gym, I think, for 2 hours a day, just running on a treadmill for 1 hour just to just clear my mind. And I, after exercise, I felt so much better. And I think just, you know, trying to do something different than what, you know, I've done before. Like when I first got ill, I bought a little keyboard piano thing and tried that for a few weeks. You know, I was just trying to do something that changed. I got a puzzle, you know, that I couldn't complete for the life of me. It was so hard. Um, but, you know, I just tried to do different things and things that make me happy. Like I like to cook. So even in the evenings, I was cooking dinner, even though I couldn't eat a lot. I was
Uh-huh.
still trying to cook. I was doing things that I enjoyed.
What's your
Um,
go-to meal? What you be cooking?
oh, okay. I like a bit of Mexican, so like fajitas, enchiladas, and stuff like that. Like I like to make that. I like a good steak. Love a good steak. So pretty basic stuff. I wouldn't say that I'm cooking it. I'm more, you know, putting it together and putting it in an oven. But you know, it counts.
Yes, but you know what? I just want to ask you as well because it's so good. I suppose when people do talk out and share their stories, how it helps so many people. For you, what was the point when you're like, I'm ready to talk about what I've been going through?
Um, I don't think there was really ever that moment. I think I just kind of, obviously I went through the stage of, you know, feeling really low when I kind of wasn't playing football at kind of the level that I am now. You know, I was playing at Reading, who played in, you know, in, it wasn't even the FAWSL2 then, it was a few
Yeah.
leagues below. No one was really talking about women's football at that stage, like as much as it is now. And then obviously, I think it was when I kind of got into the England setup and, you know, there was a lot more media attention about me because people were like, who is this kid with this short, crazy haircut who's coming in? You know, so I think it was kind of that moment that I realized, I actually have a voice to say things that I've gone through or to help people. And I really didn't think at the time that it would be so influential. When it came out, I didn't expect to get the response from so many people. I just thought I was having an interview, and it was just kind of be brushed under the carpet a little bit. But it was cool.
You said the important thing, what I was reading earlier on today, is that you want to be so real and open, because I suppose people put role models on this pedestal that everything's perfect and it's just like this straight up trajectory to the top. But you wanted to speak about, actually, there's struggles, there's highs, there's like lows along the way.
Yeah, I think one thing that I kind of speak a lot about is that I want people to understand me as a person as well as a footballer. I've been through a lot in my life as Fran Kirby, not as Fran Kirby number 14 who plays for Chelsea or plays for England. I've always wanted to be very transparent in who I am, and that was probably one of the other reasons why I did take a break from social media, because I felt I didn't want to post things that were so negative about me, or I was trying to show this positive way about myself even when I felt so poorly. And in the way, it got kind of a bit of a backlash. It was more like, well, is she really ill then? Because I was trying to be, who I wasn't, and it just didn't sit right with me. I just didn't like it. I didn't like being fake in a way, because that's not me. That's not who I wanted to be. So I think that was another reason why I took a step back. I obviously did the post about how poorly I was feeling, so everyone could understand and know that I was going through this. And sometimes you do need to just take a break from everything. And that's helped me massively, 100%.
Do you think as well, like just having that time to reflect? And because I also read, as well as you wanting to develop, obviously still as a footballer, even though it's like amazing and incredible, for you it's still developing as a person.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone has a way that they can develop themselves more. It might not be to do with something that you love. It might be to do with something that you don't know anything about. You put yourself in situations that maybe don't make you feel comfortable. I'm the worst person for that. If I don't feel comfortable in a situation, I'm awful for it. But I think the life experience that you get from different things is really good. And for me, I've had many different life experiences with myself as well, my health, my injuries, everything like that. So yeah, I like to showcase myself rather than a footballer, because ultimately I'm Fran Kirby as a person first.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Do you think your support system around you, so your friends that have been there from day one, are those the people that you keep around you that I need them? I need to lean on them when things are tough.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the last few months have really shown me, the people who will be there for you, even when you're in the most miserable mood. And that's been such an eye-opener for me. Not saying that I didn't know that before, because I keep quite a small group of friends. I'm still best friends with my best friend that I met when I was 10 years old, and we're still talking nearly every day. And people around me at Chelsea have been amazing. At the time Maria went through her leg break the same time that I kind of got poorly, so we were both sitting on my sofa just like looking at each other like, oh my god, look at us, it's just embarrassing. Like just sitting there looking at each other like, oh wow, like this is just not a good time. But yeah, I think, it's been a real eye-opener for me to see how much support I have. And it's like, I think it's changed me a lot as a person the last few months about what I've been through, and my appreciation for so much more things than football. I went through a stage with football where I was stressing so much about being, having the perfect performance in everything that I was doing. Or if I gave the ball away, it knocked my confidence so badly, and it was playing with me. And I think stepping away from it now, I think it's changed my perspective a lot, that there's so much more things to worry about than, giving the ball away in a football game.
Yeah. That's the thing though that's changed in women's football, because with more attention in the game, at the World Cup, just everyone, it's great in a way, but at the same time, with that then comes people criticizing your game. Do you think in terms of women's football, that's what we need? I say we because I'm on the other side, and it's hard for me because obviously you guys are my friends, you've been ex-teammates, and I am that one that if someone gives a ball away, like, she should be giving the ball away there. I find it so hard but honest. But at the same time, do you think the game, I don't know, some of the girls need to know how to adapt, how you're saying, now I can deal with it, I can cope with that?
Yeah, I think I kind of learnt the hard way. I think I learnt of kind of just exploding on the scene in the World Cup having a great kind of few games, and then kind of my performance dipped, which I'm open and honest to say. I think I struggled a lot with like the pressures of everything. So I learned quite quickly how to deal with it. Am I saying that it doesn't bother me now? Of course. No one likes to read bad stuff about themselves, but also at the same time, you have to take the negative with the positive. You can't expect every single person to be positive about you and love you. Everyone supports different teams. Everyone has a favorite player. That's how it is, But I think it is more of an eye-opener now for a lot of the girls after the World Cup, seeing the reaction from people back home on social media. And, I think it has taken people aback a bit with it, with the criticism or, the underachieving. And it's learning how to deal with that. You have to deal with it yourself as well. Like, even for me, I had to come off social media because I was reading things about myself that apparently Chelsea were going to sell me, So it's just like, okay, I need to get away from that and just focus on positivity and focus on my positive mental well-being. So yeah, I think it is a tough way to learn about, everything within football at the moment, especially in women's game, with it growing. And like you say, more and more people criticizing, or it's more publicity.
But at the same time, just seeing all the comments come in and everyone loving that you are so open and what goes with that, because you're such a role model in all the questions that were coming in. So I do want to take it back, because a lot of people are like, how do I get into football? At what age did you start? And you actually signed for Reading when you were 7.
Yeah, I started really young, really, really young. I had absolutely football crazy family. I don't think there was any other thing that I could have done apart from football in my family. I think there was no chances. But yeah, it was just like, at first I didn't want to go. I was so scared because I was so small, obviously. I was going up against these girls who were a lot taller than me. They were older than me because I was so young. So I was really scared. I didn't go for, I think, the first kind of 2-3 months. I would just cry every evening to my mum saying, I don't want to go, don't make me go. So then I wouldn't go. And then I finally plucked up the courage to go. And yeah, I just loved it and just grew with it.
And I suppose in men, it's where kind of, for me, I just remember, because I remember in the England setup, everyone talking about, oh, there's this girl, Fran Kirby, yeah, she plays for Reading. Basically, like how we do in football, men's football, women's football, everyone comparing you, she could be the next Kelly Smith. And that's all the talk that I was hearing. And then we rock up and then we play you in the FA Cup, whatever. Yes, you must remember. That goal, everyone just tuning in. Fran picked up the ball. I think she was on the halfway line. We had a Japanese player called Kinga at the time. Just flicked it over Kinga's head, run round, and then scored a goal. And I remember at that point, I was like, that is who everyone's talking about.
Yeah, it was a good game for us, obviously. But I actually did it to Kira in training. You remember Kira and Jane Ludlow?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Kira was still training with us at the time, and I actually did it to her in training, and she still says now that's the reason why she retired. Because I did exactly that thing to her. So I did. I was like, I'm sorry.
Retiring players for fun. But I suppose from then, was it like the next month that you got called into the England team? So you made your England debut against Sweden. Actually, remember that.
Yeah.
For you, what was that like? Because I don't know, for me, from that game, then you're in the England setup, you're making your England debut, you scored against Sweden. Was you like in a headspace like, what's going on?
I think I was just so overwhelmed. I didn't know what to think. Because obviously, I'd been involved with the seniors. I was in the 23 squad and trained with you guys in La Manga and kind of got a bit of a taste for it. And I was a bit like, oh, I really like this. Then I got picked and then didn't play, obviously, because I've just been picked in. I was training. I remember actually that trip. I think, when were we coming back from? Was it Bosnia? And I went on the plane tannoy thing. I was absolutely so nervous to do that. Honestly, I was like this. Hi everyone.
Wait, you need to give everyone some context of the story.
Oh God, I don't even know why I did it. Like, what's wrong with me? No, so basically, I think we were on the way back from Belarus, and we just played, and I think we just qualified. No, I'm not sure. I think we were going to qualify the next game. I think
more or less we had qualified.
Yeah. So it was my first trip officially as a women's senior England player. So I thought, I'm going to, get a bit of courage here, a bit of confidence. So I went on the tannoy on the plane, asked the stewardesses if I could say a few words, and obviously said, thanks for making this trip really great for me, and da-da-da. then I remember all of you lot started to sing Justin Bieber because I had my short hair. I was like,
baby.
it's a bit longer now. You can't.
You've grown it out.
Yeah.
But then just describe that feeling for everyone of you making and actually finally, you've done your first camp, but you didn't play, but then actually coming onto the pitch for England.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. I had no idea that I was going to be kind of playing. I had no idea throughout the week of training. I think I got played at right back in training that week, and I was like, well, there's no chance that I'm playing because unless he plays me at right back, and that's not a good idea. So yeah, I was really, really shocked actually when I saw the team, obviously the team news, and you know, my dad managed to come up from Reading to watch the game in Hartlepool. A lot of my family are from up north, so you know, it was still like a bit special for me as well to play in Hartlepool. And yeah, it was just incredible. I remember when the ball went in, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what has just happened? So yeah, that was really special, and I think I remember everyone else's celebration more than mine because I could just see how happy everyone was for me. Like it was just like a pile on, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I could get used to doing this.
But then, how you already mentioned it, then we went off to the 2015 World Cup. And, well, it was the first time, not even just making your debut, but the first time, like how you said, someone who wasn't in the WSL, in the top league, outside of that, gets picked to play for England and go to a World Cup. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like, I was so surprised, obviously, I've been in the squads, you know, leading into the World Cup, but the World Cup is something else, you know, that's something that everyone dreams of playing in. And I was actually, where was I when I got told? I can't remember where I was. I think I was on holiday when I got told that I was going. I was like, better go for a run then. Get myself ready.
Put that pina colada down.
Yeah, it was so surreal, and it was an amazing experience. I remember for the first kind of week, I was so poorly during the World Cup. I was really poorly, and I was like, oh my God, this is not how I can start, you know, this World Cup. And then obviously it all just exploded, and it was one of the best experiences of my life, 100%.
That's what that. No, I do remember it like it was yesterday, that game against Mexico, with you coming on and just scoring the goal.
I remember I was absolutely terrified. So when I hit it, I could see it was hitting the post. But I'd already ran off celebrating. So I was like, I'm going to look like an idiot here if this hits the post and comes back out. I'm like, oh no. But luckily it went in, and I remember it was just crazy.
Do you think, like, looking back, because I suppose for us, when Mark did give you the tag, obviously you scored that goal, and then when he was doing interviews with Mini Messi and everything, at the time, as teammates as well, I suppose I didn't know how much having that label would affect you as a person and put pressure on you. So even like looking back, I suppose as an experienced player, I need to take some responsibility, because I just was like, oh yeah, great, like Mini Messi. But for you in that moment, going back in 2015, were you just like, why? No, I don't like need this tag.
Yeah, I think I was really surprised. Obviously, he had done his interview with the BBC, and then I went straight after and kind of said to me, oh, Mark's called you this. I was like, oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, like at the moment, I wasn't really thinking too much about it because I didn't realize the effect that it would have back home. You know, I thought maybe I could just stay in this little bubble and just stay, you know, like, oh, that's good. My manager thinks that I'm playing well. My teammates think I'm playing well. That's the most important thing that really matters. And then obviously seeing the reaction to everything. And then, you know, I went into the next game against Colombia, you know, I had an okay game, gave the ball away a few times. And then, you know, it just kind of went from there, just escalated into, you know, that there was a big problem with me as a player and people not agreeing with him or people writing things, you know, and that was quite tough. That was quite tough to deal with, especially, you know, I was still quite inexperienced at the time and not really kind of understanding the powers of social media. You know, I think at the time I had maybe 500 followers, you know, and it just kind of went a bit crazy. So yeah, I think it was tough to deal with. I'm not going to sit here and say that it wasn't tough and that it did include more pressure, but ultimately it's probably the biggest compliment you can get.
Yeah.
So it was cool in that sense, but obviously it was difficult. And obviously now whenever there's something that comes out, it's like Fran, Kirby, in, you know, abbreviation Mini Messi. It's like, it's still there to this day, like every interview that I do, or, you know, people writing about it. So it stuck, and hopefully it stuck for a good reason. But yeah.
Is that in that tournament you roomed with? Did you room with Steph?
No.
Who was your roommate?
Alex Greenwood.
Ah, okay.
Young one.
The young ones together. Oh no, it's froze. Hopefully it comes back. Yeah, there it is. You're back. So you were with Alex Greenwood?
Yeah. So still with her now. Well, obviously I haven't been kind of in the team for the last few months, but yeah, still with Alex now. So going strong.
Even like looking back, because I do remember you like during that tournament, you were just like quiet.
I still am now, and when I go to camp, I'm still like that now. No, like I wouldn't say I'm a shy person, because, you know, I'm not. I'm quite outgoing and quite, like, you know, but I have moments where I just like to be by myself and like to be alone and like to kind of get my thoughts together by myself. And, you know, I'm not the most confident in a group surrounding, like in meetings and stuff. I'm not someone that's going to jump out and, you know, voice my opinions, or I'm more like on the pitch. If I see something, I'm going to say something. You know, that's kind of how I express, you know, my confidence, is seeing a situation on a pitch and trying to change it, rather than, you know, sitting in a room with everyone and everyone talking about themselves or their feelings, or, you know, what they're thinking. You know, I struggle quite a lot with that. So yeah.
Do you feel, because from Reading, then you go to a World Cup, obviously you score the goal, Mark gives you the tag, the name, and then after that as well, then you leave Reading and then you sign for like Chelsea, and that was huge, headline news. Do you think at that stage you were beginning to deal with everything?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was probably the stage where I found, you know, a real kind of home with Chelsea, and I knew that I was going to be there for, you know, however many years my contract was at the time. So I kind of felt settled. I'd, you know, had a few, you know, conversations before the World Cup about leaving Reading. So I kind of knew that that was going to be where I wanted to go, because I knew I was going to leave eventually from Reading, as much as I loved it there. Sorry, I've got to put my phone on charge, otherwise that would be awkward, wouldn't it? Really prepared. So yeah, I kind of knew that was where I was going to go. So yeah, I think that was kind of when I realized, you know, I can use this in a positive way and see it in a positive way, and kind of have a way to speak to people, because there was a lot more attention. Yeah, and I think I was really, really happy with how the World Cup went. You know, I won a bronze medal. Yeah. Like, so, you know, I can't come back feeling disappointed about anything when, you know, you've won that. So
and then, like how you just touched on, like you kind of said you found a home at Chelsea, because then you did go on, you've won the FA Cup, you've won the WSL, played in the Champions League, and then for you, your star season was you won the PFA Player of the Year, the Football Writers Award, the first female to do it. In that season, what do you think it was? Did you just feel happy and free?
I think so. I think it was just a case of understanding myself and my body, and physically and mentally. I think that was the moment where it kind of switched for me, of going from playing semi-pro, kind of full-time, training with boys at Reading, to training full-time with a team that is full of world-class international talents. You know, I had to prove myself to these players. You know, that's how I felt at the time, was I have a real case to prove here. I've come to this club. People are talking about me. This team is probably going on to win, you know, the trophies this year. I have to try and show them that I'm ready to do it when it comes. And obviously, I spent a lot of time out injured leading into that year. So I was kind of like, no, I need to show now, like, that I'm ready to go and I'm good.
In terms, you know, because the interesting thing, like, obviously I was close with Kelly Smith, and kind of the same. She was when she was injured, it's hard, because you're obviously then the comeback, you're in the gym by yourself, mentally again it's dealing with the frustrations and wanting to get back, and when you do get back, having those judgments once again on you. Is she going to be the same player?
Yeah, well, I think I was thinking the same. You know, I was out for a long time with my knee, and it gave me a lot of problems. You know, I didn't know what kind of way I was going to come back, and I think that did stress me out a little bit. And I got selected for the Euros without even playing a game of football within 5 months, so that added another load of pressure, people saying she shouldn't get selected, she's not good enough, she's not this, she's not been playing, da da da. And then obviously went ahead and won top goal scorer in the spring series. So that gave me quite a lot of confidence, with that. So yeah, I think it was just a case of proving people wrong as well. Like I always feel like I play better when I'm trying to show that I still have the talents that, that I had when I was younger, and hopefully I still do now.
Fran, so for you now, coming back, like fighting everything you've already achieved, for you, what is your next goal?
Right now is to get back on a football pitch, and be able to play. But I think in the long term, I sit and think about it myself sometimes. I'm just like, how do I put myself in that level again? And I think for me, I just want to give everything that I can to see how good I can be. I think that's where I'm at now is, okay, if I really, now I've been through the injuries, I've been through the illness. Okay, if I go from now till the Olympics, say, and I give absolutely everything every single day for the rest of this year, how good can I be? And I think that's my goal right now.
What a goal. We can't wait to see you back on the pitch.
Well, a year later, you'll see me, well, it didn't work out.
No way. But Jess, you know what? I just want to ask, going back, because you have had so many ups and downs, have you ever had those days where you just like, not like, why me, but I can't do it anymore?
Yeah, plenty, especially in the last few months. Like I said earlier, I think I've dealt with kind of the illness really, really well, but I got to a stage with it where it's like, I don't know how it is to feel normal. Like, I don't know how it is to wake up in the morning and feel like a human being and not feel like I'm struggling to walk down my stairs, or I'm walking up the stairs and I have to sit down halfway, and I remember having numerous conversations saying, I just can't do this anymore. I can't, feel this poorly or go back and have to deal with another injury that's going to put me out. Like, I'm always thinking now, what's next? What is the thing that's going to stop me? And well, in the last kind of few weeks, that's changed. Obviously, my mindset has changed because I'm feeling better. I'm feeling healthier. I'm able to smile again. I'm able to, do things like a normal person. But yeah, I've probably nearly called Emma Hayes and Phil Neville so many times saying, that's it, I'm done. I'm not playing anymore. I'm retiring. I'm going to go and do something else that I want to do, because this is right now what I want to do. But I've come through the end of that, and I'm in a good space, and hopefully I keep getting better and better and able to do more exercise, which will help. And yeah, we'll see how it goes.
It's like, even just like seeing you smile is so infectious that I'm sitting here smiling, listening to you. But in terms of for everyone that's tuning in and just heard your story today and they have followed you, because the messages, Fran, I tell you, that came flooded in. It's like, we just can't wait to hear from Fran. How is she doing? For anyone else struggling today, struggling with lockdown, going through the ups and downs, what advice would you give to them?
I think first and foremost, it would be accepting that you're struggling. I think that's the biggest thing that I never accepted was, how badly I was feeling, whether it was through the depression or illness. And then I think, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a way that you will get back to yourself. Like I said earlier, I didn't know how it was to feel like a human. I wake up every day thinking, how's my chest going to feel today? Have I woke up at a normal hour? Can I kind of not have numbness in my hands? There were so many things, and each day I had a different positive. Yeah. And I kind of tried to look at that every day, feeling something positive, and then it just built up to more and more. Positive for me was being able to get out of bed at 12 o'clock, not 3. That's a positive. That's a tick for me. Being able to eat breakfast, that's a positive. That's a tick. And, each day there was just more and more ticks going along, that ultimately it got to a stage, I woke up, I was like, oh, I don't have any pain in my chest. Like, it just becomes infectious because you have all these positives, and then it just creates you into a more positive person.
It's such a good message, because I suppose to some, like, those little things are big things. Like that difference from waking up at 3 to actually then moving it to like and waking up at 12. It's like they could see it all, but it's huge.
Yeah, and I think we take for granted a lot the little things.
Hmm.
You know, someone who may be struggling with depression or anxiety and seeing themselves leave the bedroom as a challenge. You know, okay, well, you start with getting out of bed. That's a positive. You know, being able to go on your phone and not feel anxious about what you're going to see. That's a positive. Being able to put your hand on the door handle. That's another positive, you know, and then you build up to being able to go out of the door. You know, it's not a case of I have to see this mountain of opening the door and walking out and that's the positive. There are so many other things leading to that moment.
Fran, I don't know if you like reflect on yourself, but you should be so proud of everything that you have overcome, that you continue to overcome, because you're incredible and you're such a role model for so many people that you should really just smile on reflection, because what you're doing is amazing. It really is. I
Oh,
just
same for
wanted
you,
to
Alex. You're doing amazing yourself, of course.
thanks.
We all think that. So you're paving the way for all of us. We're all going to go on Strictly and we're all going to become pundits.
And hopefully like have better moves than what I did.
Honestly, I think you're going to top all of us.
Wait, because I want to read out some questions before we let you go, because like I said, they just came flooding in. One that I've got to read first was from Kirby Appreciation Society. Most probably know who that's from.
It's my aunties.
Yeah. Do you think Cody likes living with his aunts in Newcastle more than you?
100%, because he gets fat.
They're feeders.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
This one is from tell_a_story_of love, long name. Would you ever play in the NWSL?
Oh, I've not really thought about it recently, I'm not going to lie, but I'm never going to say no to different experiences and different lifestyles. So I'm never going to say no to it. I've not thought about it, but might happen. We don't know.
Okay.
Bit of heat might be nice.
Yeah. Hey, people saying I've got a tan. I love
it's
the
true.
sunshine.
It's true. It's been nice.
And this one's from Hells Bells Weathers. Favorite game you've ever played in?
Oh wow. I'd have to say my first World Cup game. It's just amazing memories. I've played in some amazing games, FA Cup finals, you know, Champions League games, but there's nothing like playing in a World Cup.
Yeah. Oh, that moment as well. Obviously, then you coming on and scoring. Wow. Okay. Oh, this one is from Annabelle Gray. Did you get any Easter eggs, and if so, which ones?
I did. I got the M&M ones and a Thornton's chocolate one.
I got a Thornton's one.
Nice.
It's the only one that I got, but it was like, I have to say it's already gone. This one from Keza 2, I think that is. What do you consider to be your best position?
Oh, wherever I get the ball the most, that's what I always give the answer. No, I enjoy playing in both number 9 and number 10 because I think, you know, they're influential positions on the ball. But ultimately, I will play where my manager tells me to play, as long as I'm playing. You know, I might give a moan up or something about that, but you know, I'll do a job. I had to play box midfielder in the World Cup, you know, which is not my natural position, but I gave it a go.
Do you know what? That leads on nicely to the next question from Huran Mohammed _24. Because has there been a coach that gave you that confidence to make it to the top?
I think nearly every coach that I've had has given me that. I think I've been quite lucky in respect that a lot of managers have trusted me and believed in me a lot. So yeah, I wouldn't say that there's been one. I remember when I was younger, there was one who, you know, was just constantly telling me, you know, you're going to play for England, you're going to be one of the best players. So probably when I was younger, it kind of started. But I think every manager that I've played under has always been so supportive and, you know, believed in me and also been honest. You know, when I'm not performing at the level, you know, they've been honest and told me, you know, we think that you've got an extra 15% to give us, you know, and I think that's important as well.
And then, do you know what? Because I was just thinking about how you said, like, it's more than just football. Like, sometimes we're branded as, I don't know, I felt that's partly why I retired as well, because I was like, who am I without football? What's my identity? What do? I want to tell people about my interests. What do you do to switch off from football?
Walk the dogs. I like to walk. I like walking a lot. I like to do just exercise away from football. So whether it's just going for a run or, you know, doing something else. To be fair, I switch off quite easy. Like I'm quite chilled and quite laid back. Like I'm happy to get home from training and just lay on the sofa and watch movies all night. And that's kind of my switch off. I don't really do anything specific to switch off apart from obviously walk the dogs, because I think that's just really relaxing and just, you know, they're good fun. So.
Wait, I know everyone's going to be asking because everyone's going to Netflix. They want movies. What have you been watching?
Everything. The last few months, I've been
Target.
waiting for something new to come out. I'm like, come on, like you're slacking here, Netflix. No, I've just watched pretty much everything. I've finished the new season of Money Heist already. Started The Crown now because it's 3 seasons, so you know I thought that's going to take a bit of time.
Oh, you're on season 1?
No, I'm on season 3 now, so I've got through it. Yeah, I've just been watching Tiger King. Yeah, that's madness.
Cow basket. Let me ask you some more of these questions. From Money_Ethan, do you have any pre-game superstitions?
Not so much anymore. I used to have a lot when I was younger, but not so much anymore because I used to stress when I couldn't do something that was part of my superstition. You know, if I couldn't eat the same food that I ate at home, or I couldn't, you know, I used to get really like wound up about having to wear things on my kit that I didn't want to wear, or, you know, whereas now I know obviously that's not a thing that you can really worry about because, you know, you're given things now that you have to wear. So yeah, I wouldn't say that I have any superstitions. Not really, no. I used to have a lot, but not so much.
Yeah, I didn't really. Only that I used to just stay in, like I never used to go out. You know, when we arrive at the stadium and then most of the players go out onto the pitch, I would always just stay in the changing room. I would only go out on the pitch when we were going out for the warm-up. I don't know.
Yeah, I used to go out and stand in the centre circle and look to the goal and then turn around and look at the other one, mainly to see how big the pitch was and how much I'd have to run. But
now you're box-to-box midfielder and all that.
Yeah. I'm like, looks about 50 yards.
Wait, let me ask one more question before we let you go. Oh, that one you already said you like fajitas. Okay, Alfie.G.18. Favourite moment for Chelsea?
Oh, wow. Been a few. I think obviously winning the FA Cup.
Hard.
Yeah, but I think you can't pinpoint one. I think you can't have like winning the FA Cup at Wembley, scoring at Wembley, winning the WSL, scoring Chelsea's first Champions League goal.
You know what? Describe to everyone, because it is so hard. Like that first moment when you walk out and play at Wembley.
Well, I remember I came on against Germany, for England at Wembley, and that was the first time. And I remember just not being able to hear my own thoughts when I came on. I was like, oh my God, this is, and it wasn't even full. And, you know, even then I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I remember having to chase Germans around the pitch for the next 25 minutes and it wasn't so amazing. But it was unbelievable. It was one of the best experiences. And obviously now being able to play there, win there and score, it's what I dreamed of when I was growing up.
It is such an incredible feeling. Fran, I don't want to keep you all night because I know you've got to feed the dogs.
It's growling outside.
I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, obviously, because you haven't been on social media. So this is huge. And thank you. And I'll leave you with your last message that you want to give everyone.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it. It's been nice to come back on and see all the support and all the messages and stuff because I haven't seen any of it. So, you know, that's been really nice and a real positive for me. And I think ultimately just a massive thank you to all the fans everywhere who have, you know, been supporting me, messaging everyone to see how I am, sending cards into the changing room, you know, saying, hope you feel better. You know, it doesn't go unnoticed and it's something that I won't ever, you know, take for granted. And I think ultimately just try and find every positive at the moment. It's a really weird time for everyone and it's hard to stay motivated with things. But, you know, try and find something that gives you a smile for 10 minutes of the day and, you know, it will turn into 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And I think that's the most important thing.
Fran, you're amazing. Stay positive, stay strong. And we
I
can't
will.
wait to see you back after all this is done.
Hopefully.
You scoring goals for fun. Right. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
What a complete legend. Hope you all enjoyed that, everyone. Let me just I'll quickly do a live with someone. Who wants to go live? Who wants to go live? Let's see. Random, let's go. Who wants to go live? Right. Dun-dun-dun. Oh, let's go here. Let's see who this is. Dun-dun-dun. Waiting. 3, 2, 1. Cancel. Sorry. On to the next one. Who is this? Hopefully it connects. Yay! Hey! Who am I talking to?
Freya.
Freya, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Wait, we need to see you a bit. Put it like more. Wait, what? Photos and what scarves have you got going on behind you? Who's in the background?
That's Stuart Pearce, that's Fresh, and that's a Wembley scarf.
Stuart Pearce. You like defenders?
Yeah.
Do ya? So Stuart Pearce is your favourite?
Yeah.
Ah, thank you for tuning in to Scottie Talks. Did you enjoy the talk with Fran?
Yeah, it was really good.
What did you take from it?
It just like when you're feeling down, you've always got to look for a positive, and that was really good.
Yeah, and seeing her smile again was so
Yeah.
good. And I can see you smiling right now, which is good. How's lockdown been going for you?
It's not been great 'cause I can't play football or watch it, but it's alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll come back soon.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think when it does come back, when we all get through this together, we'll just appreciate it so much more and maybe watch games in a totally different way and not take it for granted as much, right?
Yeah.
So are you a defender?
No, I'm actually a striker, but I just love watching Stuart Pearce play.
I love that. I love that you're a striker, but you've got appreciation for defenders because that is rare. What sort of striker would you say? Would you compare yourself to?
Ellen White.
Ellen White. Do you like her goal celebration?
Yeah, the guy.
When she does that? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll let you go. Oh, can you DM me your address so I'll send you a signed photo? Okay? Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
It's being called by your mum. Oh, but before we go, everyone, I did want to quickly show you some of these photos just before I let you go, because this right here, I hope you can all see it. This was from Pen Mill Lionesses under 13. They made this photo to show their support for the NHS, which I just think is incredible. Look at that. So they sent me that on Twitter. So I just wanted to show you all because it's amazing. Right. Scottie Talks is back. I hope you all enjoyed it. Fran was amazing and incredible as ever. Have a good rest of your Easter bank holiday. I am now off. I actually did make my broccoli soup. So I'm going to post a picture. I'll show you all for proof. And I'm going to have a relaxed evening and watch Killing Eve because Killing Eve is back. Everyone, have a wonderful evening and I will see you soon. Thank you for tuning in. See ya.